Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of America's Dummies. Thank you for tuning in. Today we will be discussing the snowstorm in the White House, people.
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Cocaine. Yeah, that's what we mean. Cocaine. We're not on it. Not at all.
That blow.
Yeah. Blowing note. I was going to say, never mind. I'm not going to say that. Plus, we're going to be discussing the ramifications and the potential disruption of social media for the newly formed or newly created Twitter-esque app called Threads. That was
the Twitter killer.
That's what they're calling it, Twitter killer. Yeah. I don't know if it can or will, based on some of the history with Facebook, Meta, and Mark Zuckerberg, which we will get into. And then we are also going to be talking about, in regards to the Threads app, whether or not your data is going to be safe and secure, or if it'll be vulnerable to nefarious third-party actors outside of the United States. And then lastly, we'll go ahead and discuss about what we're kind of intrigued about, because it's really cool, but potential dangers of it is the Apple's new Vision Pro augmented reality goggles, and we'll discuss how it will influence our interactions going forward with our world and surroundings. Let's dive in. And we're back from the intro. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. We really appreciate it. I am Kyle McClure, and joined with me, as always, is the one, the only,
the great
Lone Wolf. I did the voice a little bit there again.
Bit.
Last episode. What's up, man? How you doing today?
Doing pretty good, man. Just going through this info. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you got to say.
That's it.
Well, thank you for tuning in. And before we dive into today's episode, which I believe has some goodies in terms of information, I mean, you don't even have to spend but maybe 10 minutes on each one, and you already get just a plethora of information in one or two articles, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. But we'll go ahead and dive in. But before we do, don't forget to click the like and subscribe buttons. Turn on that notification bell so that way you never miss an episode. And we actually just recently started a GoFundMe to help raise funds to help, buy better equipment, help with, creating or, editing and creating thumbnails and things like that. So basically anything we can do to help create better content for y'all. We are not taking a dime or a penny for ourselves, not until we can develop better content for you and anyone else that listens. So please feel free to click the link in the description below to go to our GoFundMe. Even just $5 or $1 will help. I mean, we are just trying to our best to be able to create better content for you, because without funds to help us create this show, we cannot continue to spread the truth about America and obviously our opinions to people. While this is an opinionated based show, there are a lot of facts that we are trying to convey to each and every one of you, and the importance of it when it comes to, I guess, conserving the American values, principles, and ideals of this country.
Yeah. I mean, it'll help us with, better the quality, the sound, the editing, basically bring better information to you.
Yeah, and we would love to be able to, have a better camera in terms of its ability to record longer than 30 minutes at a time, and also maybe even add multiple angles for you guys, so that way it's not so boring just looking at us in one simple, I guess, frame, if you will, each and every time. But hey, you know what? We work with what we got.
That's what we got.
And we're trying to work to do more for you. And we are going to also try and offer little tidbits of our shows, so smaller clips, so that way it's more digestible and more shareable for our listeners. So hopefully we can deliver that pretty soon. I think we're going to try and start it with this particular episode, so that way you don't have to just sit through the whole thing if there's something particular you're interested in.
Maybe like some bloopers, behind the scenes kind of thing.
You would have to record that first.
We did.
Did we?
Yeah.
I'm already blinking.
When we were doing the focusing
experiment. Oh yeah, we are trying to do. I realized that my I looked a little blurry in our last episode, and so we are trying to figure out if autofocusing would work, but unfortunately, it looks like it's trying too hard to get us both into focus, and so it constantly goes in and out of focus the entire time. So hopefully, this manual focus just looks good enough. But again, people, technology is not our strong suit.
If you're a producer and you're free, hey, holla at us.
Yeah, give us a tip or just do all the work for us. We prefer all the work for us, but hey, we will do what we need to. All right, so to get into the first story of the day, ladies and gentlemen, it is snowing in the White House. Mm-hmm. Fresh.
So when the story first broke, it was cocaine hydrochloride, is what they called it. Mm-hmm. And I looked it up, and it was like a nasal spray.
I remember we were at work. We were talking about. I told you like, whoa, cocaine found in the White House? There's no way. And then of course, I said something. It was reported that it was cocaine hydrochloride, whatever that was. You looked it up, and it was.
Yeah, some kind of nasal spray to like local anesthetic, I guess, for like doctors to go in your nose or whatever.
Mm-hmm. That was the original story. Not to mention where it was originally found.
Yeah, near the White House.
Near the White House. That's right. It was reported to be near the White House. And then where was the second? The library.
And then it was actual cocaine in a bag found in the library. And then they moved it again to the West Wing workers' entrance. Something like that.
I think it was near the Situation Room that they are reportedly having, upgrades done to it or construction.
Yeah, they got workers in there remodeling.
And then it was reported to have been found in a cubby, I guess near a visitor's entrance where they put their personal belongings and their cell phones in there before they go into, I guess, any specific part of the White House.
So to me, like Bongino said earlier, the coke is on coke. It's everywhere. It grew legs.
The coke is on coke. It's just hopping from place to place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. But it's funny because one of the initial reports was it was found in the library. But as soon as people do some research into the accessibility of the library, you find that only people who are basically a part of the first family, so that would be people who are related to Joe Biden and Jill Biden, are the only ones that are accessible there, especially people who are already protected by the Secret Service. Yeah. And so that leads to one conclusion.
Well, that's when they said, you know what? We can't. That's not where we found it. Right?
Yeah. Hey, go ahead and that you found cocaine in the library? What? Hey, move it to the cubbies and then report it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so there's one conclusion, people. Can anybody guess what that conclusion is?
Let them know.
Yeah.
Let them know.
Let them know?
Yeah.
Let them know?
Let them know.
Hunter Biden. It's Hunter Biden's. End of story. Next.
Period.
Next story. Threads. Okay. No. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to continue a little bit on the cocaine because it is important for people to realize exactly what is going on with this cocaine and how it got into the White House. A white, powdery substance got into the White House.
Well, I mean, they have security there for the public that does tours or stuff like that. So
everybody.
I don't think it came in that way. And if it did come in, it came in with somebody that doesn't get checked.
Well, and that's the thing. The only people that get checked or don't get checked are people who have Secret Service protection. And that would be people like the first family, like the son of the president of the United States, who has a history of cocaine addiction.
It could be, the vice president.
Yeah, which it was first.
It could be
which was reported that KJPs,
it was found.
Well, I don't know if I think they still get. I think they still have to go through.
They still get checked.
I think they still have to go through a security entrance because I don't think they don't get Secret Service protection. Now, I don't actually know that. That is speculation. But from Dan Bongino, who is a former Secret Service agent from 1999 to 2011, who was on the President Protection Detail, he basically said that everywhere you have to go through a security checkpoint no matter who you are, and there's multiple areas of it. No matter where it's found, you still have to go in through an area unless you are someone who is of the first family, or I think he even said second family.
Yeah, like you're driven in, basically.
Yeah,
if you're driven
in,
you don't get checked.
Yeah, if you're driven in, you don't get checked. And that's where the issues come about Hunter Biden. Not to mention, you remember if you remember at all, I think we talked about it 1 or 2 episodes ago, where Hunter Biden got a plea deal. We may have briefly talked about it, but we didn't actually go into it. But Hunter Biden got a plea deal to where he just basically goes on probation for his tax fraud and for his gun charge, right? His illegal, he lied on his form to get a gun. So he lied on that, which is a fraud, right? It's a fraud. It's a felony.
Yeah.
And it gets jail time. Well, part of the probation means he cannot take any types of drugs whatsoever, right? Like, I don't know about legal drugs, like prescribed drugs, but he can't take.
Usually, probation
he can't be on.
Will allow a prescription as long as it's a doctor's prescription.
Right.
But no, you get drug tested. When you're on probation, it's not every day. Cocaine doesn't stay in your system.
For as long
enough. You can time it to where you'll pass the test. But still, if it is his cocaine, he's going to jail, right? But they're not going to tell us that.
No.
And then, them talking about they find it in the West Wing where the cubbies and the workers are at, there should be footage of somebody putting it there at some point.
Yeah, there's cameras everywhere in the White House. If it's found in a cubby, which is going to be where people put their personal belongings in before they go somewhere else in the White House or move about, that is going to be videotaped.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care what you think or say. And so if they can't look at the cubby or determine where that coke was found based on going back into the surveillance,
they're lying to
and then being able to trace it back to the last person who put something in there, then they're lying to you. Then they're literally, this is a cover-up. I mean, I don't know if you guys fully understand this. This is a cover-up because cocaine in the White House who would be the only person in there that we know of with a cocaine addiction is Joe Biden, the president of the United States, unfortunately. His son, Hunter Biden, has the addiction.
Yeah.
He was at the White House prior to them finding it, and what was I trying to say? It's a cover-up because he has that plea deal, right? That plea deal means he can't be caught with cocaine or anything, an illegal substance. If he's caught with that illegal substance, his plea deal is gone. Therefore, he serves time in jail. Yeah. And, of course, they don't want that. And so what are they going to do? They're going to cover up for Hunter Biden. They're going to try and blame the workers, which they're already priming to do, saying it was found near the construction entrance or near the situation room that's under construction.
That's exactly
They're trying to blame
happen.
a staffer or maybe a visitor. So they're changing the story all the time. And if they're changing the story constantly like that, they're hiding something.
Yeah, they're hiding something. They probably made a mistake in covering it up. But they already know who's cocaine.
They already know who it is. Not to mention how we got some serious issues with our security system, especially even if it is a first family, right? Maybe the Secret Service should do a pat down of the first family before they even go into the White House, even if they are driven up there. Make sure they don't have any illegal substances on them because they are not immune to the rules or to the law of the land. If you are immune to certain laws because of your status or influence, you're no longer in a free country. And that's where we're at right now. Joe Biden, immune from the laws. Hillary Clinton, immune from the laws. Nancy Pelosi, immune from the laws.
Joe Biden's son got a slap in the hand.
Hunter Biden, because of his connection with Joe Biden, immune to the laws. And they're going after Donald Trump for all the things that they are the ones doing. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's ridiculous. And, I mean, what happens if that was a biochemical weapon, like anthrax? I mean, there's measures in place for a reason. And this is one of the most, if not the most, protected place on Earth.
It should be.
And cocaine, an illegal substance, got into the White House. Okay, a white powder into the White House. Ain't nobody wanted to snow in the White House. And then, of course, what were you saying earlier about all these media companies trying to brush it off?
Oh, yeah, they were talking about it like it was a joke. Like, I forgot what news outlet it was, but they were basically laughing at it, saying, oh, cocaine, we got to have a little fun sometimes. Ha, ha, ha. Like that.
It's like stressful job, stressful life. You got to blow off some steam, right? With a little bit of blow. Like, no, that's not. What is it with Democrats and blow in the White House? Bill Clinton, and now
There's a different type of
Hunter
blow there.
Biden. Maybe.
But I don't know. The thing is, to me, they're covering it up. If it got in there, they need better security.
Yeah.
They need to up the protocol a little
yeah.
bit. And you know, if they find that it's one of the Bidens, then it's going to hurt the administration too for their election.
Hell yeah, yeah, they're done, and
they're gonna try to sweep that. You know,
yeah, they're gonna
blame
try and
somebody
put
else.
it up in the rug, blame someone else, and hide and try and censor any story that tries to either say it's Hunter Biden.
Well, yeah, the media is already laughing at it.
Yeah, the media's already laughing at it. They're already trying to cover it up. They're already trying to put it behind, and they would love to be able to censor any right-wing, conservative-based or independent-based media outlet from being able to report on the story, much like they did with the Hunter Biden laptop, and much like they will probably continue to do with Facebook's new, or Meta's, I should say Meta's new integration, new app, Threads. How do you like that transition? Best transition I've ever done.
That's pretty good.
Pretty much the only transition I've been able to do. I'm not good at transitions, people.
But
yet.
yeah, Threads is.
We'll go ahead. Yeah, Threads is. I mean, it's what, 5 days or so since its start, or within 5 days at the very least within its start. It has 100 million users.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Right
okay, I don't know
that.
about users, but 100 million people signed up.
Yeah.
Right.
Active users.
Active
I don't
users,
know.
we have no idea. Which,
But if they count Instagram as an active user, then I could see those numbers.
yeah.
Because you sign up through Instagram.
Yep.
You can't do it any other way.
And that's the unfortunate thing is you sign it up through Instagram. If you delete Threads, you delete your Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And no one wants to delete their Instagram, especially if they have all these memories on there.
So yeah,
I mean, so they
their
kinda-
user count is going to stay up.
Yeah, their user count's not going to just stay up. It's going to continue to grow,
Mm-hmm.
especially if Instagram continues to grow. But the question is, how many people are going to actually use it on a day-to-day basis or on, forget day-to-day, on a month-to-month basis, which they also use those numbers for advertisers. Okay? So if you don't know this, I mean, there are companies that will fudge their numbers, right? They will say, oh, we have this many listeners, we have this many followers, or this many active users. So we have, let's say, 100 million users, and they give those numbers to advertisers, and those advertisers want to pay. Then the company gets to decide which rate the advertisers pay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you have 100 million users, that's a lot of impressions that you could have, right? So obviously your worth is going to be, increase. Your worth is going to be, let's say, $60 per impression.
Well, yeah, it's like TV. The more people watching that particular show, the more expensive that ad slot
For
is.
instance, Super
like,
Bowl
like
ads.
Super Bowl ads.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing: if you say we have 100 million users, so we're $60 an impression, right? Or $5 an impression. Let's just do something, because 100 million users. That's
We're going into the billions.
yeah. So $5 an impression, right? Well, what happens is then you could also it's like the advertiser company can go in and be like, okay, great, you have 100 million users. In other words, you have 100 million people who signed up for your platform. How about you tell me how many people will actually see my ad? Oh, well, we only have 10 million active users on a month-to-month basis. Well, then I ain't going to pay $5 an impression. It's
Yeah.
not worth that much, right? Because you say that I can get 100 million impressions, but in reality, only 10 million people per month are going to see it. So why? So they're going to fudge those numbers, and that's how you will be able to manipulate rates and manipulate the advertisers. And so again, it's just misleading. It's poor ethics, poor business ethics, and why would you trust a company that would do that? Not to mention Meta, or what used to be Facebook, which has a history of taking people's data without their permission, or at least misleading them and burying it in the terms of service to take their data
So you
for profitability.
You talk about a company, us trusting a company that is fidgeting with their numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why trust somebody that tells you up front when you sign up that your data is going to be shared with third-party companies, right? And they're not liable for it, and and people are agreeing to that, and
Because they're not going to read all the terms of service.
they're not. But some of the experts are warning potential privacy concerns because the data shared could be shared with other platforms that are not based off the U.S., have less restrictions in sharing your data.
China, anybody?
Yeah.
They already got TikTok. Now they'll have access to Facebook.
I mean, potentially you
Threads.
could have,
Keep saying Facebook.
some of those platforms that their servers are in China or in Russia or Brazil, wherever.
Yeah.
So there you go. They're sharing your data and they are telling you they're not liable for that, and you agree to it.
Yeah, what people need to understand is that when you do anything online, you have a trail. You leave a trail, a data trail, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what cookies is about. That's what, sharing your location, sharing
called your
phone.
digital footprint.
It's digital footprint, right? There's a lot of different terminologies. There's a lot of digital exhaust is another terminology for it. But basically what's going on is that I will tell you right now, the most valuable digital asset ever created and will always be like this is not cryptocurrency. It's not the market cap. It's not the value of a company. It's none of that. The biggest and most valuable digital asset was, and will be forever your personal data. Mm-hmm. Hands down, no doubt about it. It will be your data. That is the most valuable digital asset. And they will sell that information to other companies just so they can get an income. Why do you think that all these platforms are free? How do you think they make an income to billions of dollars? Do you think that they get billions of dollars from their market value? No, that's not realized gains. They don't actually have access to that cash. Like you could go in your wallet and grab some cash. They don't, or go in your wallet and get a credit card or debit card. They don't have that kind of access to that billions of dollars that you see in the market value.
Yeah. And that data is important too. Like companies use that data to kind of see what citizens are doing, kind of following them and see what patterns people are leaning to, and then companies will launch products or make another app or launch a product like, people are looking into golf stuff or gun stuff or food.
They look at your data to see what's popular and what's not.
Yeah, and then they use
selling,
that
what's not,
to make more money.
They use it to make decisions on marketing, advertising, on what kind of products they create, what kind of products they put more money into developing.
Yeah, and you can kind of control populations with that too.
Yeah, and not to mention on Threads. So I mean, I was looking at a platform, or I was looking at an article from MSN, and it was discussing people like psychologists, economists, and stuff like that were discussing the potential ramifications of Threads, which they're saying we have another social media platform which we do not need because of its, obviously we already know social media's effect on anxiety, depression, and fear of missing out or isolation in some facts, because in reality you are isolating yourself by thinking you are interacting with people online, when in reality that's not a true social interaction, which is what humans thrive on. And we can get into how our interactions will change a little bit when we go to augmented reality. But the fact is that social media is already done a lot of damage. I mean, yes, it's done some good, and it's increased the readily available information for people and for how we interacting with family members across the country or world. And, there's a lot of good that comes from it, know. But what we don't need more of is another company that's like Twitter, that its sole purpose is to be a happier and warmer place than Twitter, which then also one of these people on the article was mentioning how they want it to be, what were they saying? They want to what were they saying? Oh, quality control. That's what they're saying. They are saying that people who are disenchanted or don't believe the mainstream media, and they would go off to these other companies, like for instance, they blame don't believe mainstream media, which would make them go to these other platforms such as Twitter, such as Truth Social, and therefore create these echo chambers, which is what Facebook is. It's an echo chamber. It's what Twitter used to be when they censored people, an echo chamber.
I think they're all echo chambers.
Well, I mean, To an extent, yes, especially based on who you follow and what you look at and like, because it's based on the algorithm, right? There will always be in some form or another an echo chamber. But when you start putting in there, you need to put these quality control measures, whether it be by the social media company or the government, which is extremely dangerous. Then you give them free reins to censor whatever they want based on political or ideological agendas.
Well, for now they can't do that because that federal judge prohibited the
federal government
administration from interacting with big social media companies.
Yeah. Now, with the exception of like national security implications and actual.
I mean, if it
crimes,
involves like a crime or actual national security, then yeah.
But they can do it.
They can't just go be like, hey, take this comment down because I don't like it.
Which they did, especially during 2020 and even before when it came to misinformation about COVID-19, about the 2020 elections. And these companies, these social media companies, just Facebook included, Mark Zuckerberg included, just did it.
Yeah.
And I mean, Mark Zuckerberg was on Joe Rogan's podcast and admitted to the fact that, we had the FBI come to us and said, there might be some misinformation or disinformation coming from Russia that's going to drop coming soon regarding Hunter Biden. And what happened right after they came to them? The story of Hunter Biden's laptop dropped, which has been verified by the DOJ, by the FBI since then. And yet they want to continue to say it was misinformation. Or it was disinformation, or it's all to help Trump.
Yeah, this is misinformation. Take it down. And that's it. It was gone.
Can I ask you a question?
Maybe.
Who determines misinformation?
I don't know. The person reading it, I guess.
I mean, misinformation can be determined on whether or not you're able to confirm the info from multiple sources.
So anything could be misinformation, but if you read something and you're like, what the hell? Go somewhere else, read about it. Go somewhere else, read about it. Go elsewhere, read about it. And if everything matches up, it's probably true.
Yeah, including if it's from different sources, like a right-leaning source and
definitely
a left-leaning source.
Different sources. Don't stay in one place.
Yeah, don't do that. That's how you create an echo chamber.
Yeah.
And that's what they're worried about.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, Facebook, Meta, whatever you want to call it, they have a history of censoring people that have different political leanings or different ideological leanings. And so what they determine as misinformation, which in reality is just something that they don't want out there in the ether, they censor that person or information for their own gain.
Yeah.
And so what makes you think that Threads is going to be any different?
It's not. That's why I like the decision for the judge on, keeping the federal government from doing that. And they're appealing it. So they didn't like the decision, obviously.
So they're going to appeal it so they can continue to control the information. Okay.
Yeah.
Think of it this way. Control the information, control the narrative, control the agenda. Therefore, you control the people and the country.
That's exactly what they're doing.
That's what they've been trying to do. That's what this administration has been doing from day one. It's extremely dangerous stuff.
Well, not just the administration, even the social media companies themselves. They've been doing that.
Yeah. And
it's like when you
like YouTube.
When you
just now started.
Like right now, we're talking about cocaine and Threads and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Facebook, scroll a little bit. You're gonna find stuff related to that because they're listening in, and the algorithm is creating posts already for us to see.
Yeah, and it's dangerous. Mm-hmm. I think it's dangerous. I think it's scary too.
I think I should search for what I want to consume.
Yeah, instead of having it force fed to you through algorithms. Yeah. With because people are the ones that create the algorithms. Therefore, just like people who program AI, these programs are going to be a little biased. The algorithms are going to be a little biased. Now, what's crazy though is that when I'm on YouTube searching for stuff, there are things that actually help me gather information. So obviously it allows different perspectives in certain scenarios, but for the most part, it's the same. I guess it's the same perspective for the most part in terms of the overreaching aspect of whatever I'm researching that is portrayed over and over and over again. Just different people reporting on it.
Mm-hmm.
So there is that little aspect again that is very close to an echo chamber.
Yeah, that You could call that an echo chamber for sure.
So while some people think it's dangerous to have another, I guess, competitor in the social media field, it shouldn't all be controlled by one company. But do I know what the answer is? No, because it's extremely complicated.
At this point, I think technology is just going to keep evolving. It's going to keep getting better. But we need to get better also. Like, we are, and we'll talk about this more with the Vision Pro, but, we're being dumbed down. And they're just throwing stuff at us to keep us dumbed down.
Yeah, and they want to keep us. They want our heads to stay down, and they want our heads to stay immersed in some sort of fantasy world or alternate reality, so that way they can continue to control our lives. Which brings us to virtual reality and augmented reality, and how the Apple's Vision Pro could possibly be very detrimental to how we interact with our surroundings and with other people. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about
Be right back.
Apple's Vision Pro. And we're back.
That was a nice break.
So for you, what was a second was, for us, not a second. I don't know how long it was. Anyways, thank you for tuning in again. And welcome back. And if you've continued to watch this far, congratulations. You're rare. So thank you. Anyways, so we're going to go ahead and get into Apple Vision's Apple's Visions. Apple. Take a break and
Vision Pro.
Okay, let's say it again. Say it with me.
Apple Vision Pro.
Round of applause, please.
You got
it.
You
Thank you.
Good job. Good job.
The only prouder moment in my life is when I took my first steps. Anyways,
and the transition from cocaine
I like
to
that
threads.
transition.
That was
I like
good.
that transition. That was good. Too bad we don't have a transition from our story to an ad. So,
Soon.
Please.
Soon.
Yeah, soon. So, but in the meantime, please, remember, go support us at our GoFundMe link. Cha-ching. Anyways, all right, so, speaking of cha-ching, anybody want to take a guess at how much cha-ching it takes to obtain one of Apple's Vision Pro AR augmented reality goggles?
So I thought it was a set price.
Mm-hmm.
It starts at that price.
Hold up, what? Starts?
Starting at.
I thought it was only $3,500.
It says starting at $3,500.
What? Okay.
I don't know what possibly they could add to it to make it more
add?
expensive. I don't know. We'll have to find out.
What? Starts at $3,500.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they're saying starts at that in terms of based on supply. Maybe it can go up based on demand.
No, I thought that was illegal.
No. I mean, you can. It's if for instance, the PlayStation.
It's like when
we're
running out of gas, you can't price gouge.
You can, because it becomes more valuable. Price gouging is not the same as increasing prices when you have higher demand, low supply. Okay. Price gouging would be, if I'm not mistaken, would be something like, let's say I buy a PlayStation at $500, and then I go and turn around and sell it for $700. I think that would be a lot like price gouging.
No, because a lot of that happened when the Xbox first came out. I was ready at the checkout screen, ready to hit buy, and at 12 midnight, and as soon as it turned midnight, I hit buy, and they were sold out.
Yeah, but the company,
and then the next day, people were selling them for $1,500 online.
You know what? I don't know. I haven't done enough research into price gouging.
I think price gouging, it's when it happens a lot during natural disasters, like hurricanes.
Yeah. Like you're taking advantage of a certain situation, and therefore you charge more than what an item's actually worth because of the situation.
Yeah.
For instance, you would charge natural disaster,
you need
$10
a bag
a
of
gallon.
ice, $20.
Yeah, need a bag of ice, $20. You're taking advantage of someone in a bad situation. I think that's what it is. Price gouging is taking advantage of someone in a poor condition.
But usually when Apple says starting at, they have something else down the pipeline.
Yeah, like for instance, an Apple iPhone 14 maybe starting at $1,200 could be $1,500.
Maybe
depending on your
storage or maybe battery capacity, because the one they announced only has a 2-hour battery life.
2 hour? Okay, so for all that it can do, which I understand takes a lot of processing power, but for all that it can do,
2 hours.
You only get 2 hours on that for $3,500.
Or you can
Screw that.
Or you can plug it in and have unlimited.
Plug it in.
But the battery is it's a 2-hour lifetime, which to me, for everything that it's doing, that's enough.
I guess.
I don't think I want to be on there longer than 2 hours unless I'm watching a movie, and then I would plug it in.
Yeah, and if you're gonna do that, you might as well just plug it in. You know, something that's
Sitting
close to your couch or whatever. Yeah. Which is crazy. I mean, if you haven't looked into Apple's Vision Pro, you really need to. They have a great 10-minute video on its capabilities.
Just
but
go,
I mean,
go to Apple and watch the video.
It's extremely immersive. I mean, you could be on a plane, put on a movie, all right? And I'm not sure if only you hear it because of its spatial audio. It's not connected directly into your ear. It goes out.
I'm sure
there might be
pretty,
a way to do that.
I'm sure spatial audio, I'm sure it's pretty silent to other people.
Probably. I'd hope so. Because that would be annoying. You know, you hear someone watching a movie, you can't see jack shit.
Yeah.
And you're next to them on a plane, you're like, bro, plane rides suck anyways. Why are you making it worse, right? You know, I'm trying to sleep or whatever. But there's ability to where you can put on a movie. You can dim the lighting or your visibility of your surroundings, which that makes sense, what you told me earlier about it projecting your surroundings onto your side.
Yeah.
Not actually clear to where you can see through it.
Yeah, so at first I thought the glass was clear.
Right.
And these images were being
projected out in front of you
or the glass is the screen itself, you know. But so what it is, it's not clear. It has like cameras and stuff. There's
how many cameras do they say?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like 6 or 8 cameras. So and then
I feel like it was more than that.
Infrared LED sensors and all kinds of stuff. It even has a lidar sensor.
It's a lidar sensor.
Not sure. I didn't look it up. But
it's got a lidar sensor, people.
So
what's that? No idea. I just know it's something they have.
Like if you guys are looking at us and you got the headset on, the cameras would pick us up, and this is what it would project to you.
Right. Yeah. Which makes me scared for if someone were to, you know, hijack or find a way to hack it. They're able to mess with your surroundings, therefore mess with your head when you have it on there. Right? Like make you think you're seeing a ghost and you take it off and it's not there, but when you put it on, it's there. You're like, what the fuck?
That could happen.
Excuse my language.
Yeah, so it's not clear. And then the part where, this is another one I didn't like, the part where it shows the girl with it on and you can see her eyes. Mm-hmm. That's actually a projection to an outside screen.
For like if you were to have it on, I could see a projection of your eyes, but I can't see your eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so and that's where it's like if you want to have, you know, like you can FaceTime people with it and put them up on, you know big ass screen, if you will, in front of you, to where it's like they're extreme, like, you know, life size or even bigger than life size right in front of you while you're, you know, doing a FaceTime with you. And it turns out it's like I was thinking you don't have your phone or anything in front of you, so how do they see you? Do you do FaceTime as well with them? Do they see your face? Turns out, and this is where it gets really freaking well. I don't like, especially if they're able to hold on to that, you know, like they're able to keep it and it's able to get it out there somewhere to where someone can abuse your likeness. Even if you're someone who doesn't have images,
like hijack your
avatar, right? So what's scary is that you can hold it in front of you, right? The exterior portion of it in front of you, and it will capture your face, and it'll do in even your shoulders and everything, and it will use artificial intelligence to generate a likeness of you talking, and you even hand motions for the people that you're on FaceTime with. So they're not seeing you. They think they are, but they're not seeing you. They're seeing an artificial intelligence version of you, an altered version of you that's an avatar.
So it's called AML, Advanced Machine Learning. And
that's just another terminology for you're going to die.
It maps your face, and then the cameras inside the goggle pick up your eye movement, your blinking, everything.
Maybe even a little bit of movement with your cheekbones and stuff like that.
Yep, it picks all that up. And when you talk on FaceTime, the image that the other people are seeing, it's a computer-generated image of you. which is pretty nuts.
That's extremely. I just find that extremely serious. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I had the ability to try it on, maybe even buy it, I probably would. Right? If I obviously had the capability of doing so, and I didn't have other obligations that were more important, I probably would. But at the same time,
I'm thinking about it.
I don't want to because, I mean, look. Okay, think about what's the implications for our society if we are already too immersed in our phones, too immersed in the 2D version right in front of us, immersed in the 2D version of our movies, TV shows, video games. I mean, think about how much of our life already revolves around sitting in a chair on a piece of technology that is nowhere near as immersive as augmented reality, where you think you are actually seeing your surroundings, when in reality it's a projection of your surroundings being interpreted through cameras and pixels into your eyes, right? So you think that you're seeing your surroundings on top of all this benefits of apps and games and movies, but in reality, it's just a picture being projected into your eyes through a set of goggles.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I think that's extremely dangerous. Not to mention, what about if you use kids? I mean, these rich parents are going to buy these kids these augmented reality. Is like, here, do the augmented reality, leave me alone.
Yeah. Use your
headset. Think about the mental and emotional development that kids are going to have if they spend so much of their time on that. And we already have kids committing acts of violence, atrocities, murders, and temper tantrums whenever they have their gaming console taken away from them, whenever they have their phone taken away from them. What happens if they have something that's so emotionally immersive, such as the augmented reality, and they take that away from them? What if they react as if they're taking literally a part of them off or away?
That's already happens now.
Exactly, but it's going to be even worse with something that is. I mean, look.
But it has to be used properly. Like
everything.
For me, I would use it like when I have a movie night. I got a good movie I want to watch.
Yeah.
I'm going to put on the headset and I'm going to watch it on a 100-foot screen out in the Grand Canyon.
I mean, yeah.
I would do that.
Yeah.
Like,
or lay down and pretend like you're
obviously
in the Milky Way, just
yeah,
flying through.
Like, obviously, it's not the same thing as real life.
Yeah.
But I don't like going to theaters by myself, right? So
we got a wuss over here.
If I can watch a movie like I was in the theater, then why not?
Why not? Yeah. Well,
and not to mention, like,
I mean,
you can.
yeah.
It has a lot of good things where, everything's controlled by your eyes and your hands. There's no controllers. There's no keyboard, and your voice.
Very convenient.
I think it's very practical, and you can pull up different screens, different apps. You can do multiple things at once. Like that on the 10-minute video, the lady was packing her bags at a hotel and talking to her husband and whoever it was at the same time.
Yeah. You know what else you could do?
I thought that was pretty cool.
Put your phone on speaker and do that.
Yeah.
Put some headphones in and do that.
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. How immersive, how lazy do we need to get? Do you realize it's going to create more laziness, especially in the development of kids? We already have a problem with our kids not being developed enough to pass rudimentary, tests in school, and that's because of, a lot of different factors, yes, but they're so focused on alternate realities in the TV and the games and the social media.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not playing outside like they used to. You really think
that's another thing too? Like, kids need to go outside more.
Yeah, they need to go outside more.
I was watching
touch some grass.
I was watching it was like a documentary on humans and our spirit and all that. And this one guy was talking about like how we're not grounded anymore. Like, kids don't play outside. We don't. Our foot never touches the ground. Like, we're not in connection with the natural earth, nature.
Yeah, nature. Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty interesting because I don't see kids playing outside. Rarely.
I mean, if you do, I hate to say it, if you do, it's going to be in these poorer areas where they don't have the luxuries of, being able to have a gaming console or a nice TV in their room or social media on their own personal, touchscreen phone, right? They may have some sort of phone that doesn't have those capabilities for emergency contacts, but it's like, I got my first phone when I was 7 years old, but it was one that you had to buy minutes on. It was for emergencies only, and I spent most of my time in playing outside until I started playing a lot more video games. We moved around, and then I was no longer, I felt I escaped reality by going into playing games and watching movies and TV shows. It's going to be so much worse for kids by isolating them through these augmented reality goggles.
Yeah.
And it's going to hurt our development. I mean, it will
increase the isolation.
There's already a study done out of Stanford that showed people's interactions with the real world changed based on their previous experience or their current experience at that time with augmented reality. For instance, they put an augmented reality goggle on, and in the chair, in two chairs in front of them, there's a fake avatar sitting in one. What do? They go 100% of the time out of 218 people in the study, they sat in the one next to it. And then when they had the VR or the AR goggles off, 72% of them chose not to sit in the same one as the avatar. Right? For instance, 72% of them sat in the chair that was not occupied by the avatar before. And then it changes your interactions with people. It changed their interactions with social interactions with people with them off. It even changed, and when they had them on, when they had it on, it changed. They felt less socially connected to the person they were conversing with. And then it also changes your behavior. It changes your where you walk. It changes how you turn your head. It changes on the verbal communication. I mean, we already have a hard time with communicating verbally and with our conversations, with our dialect and everything, with our on a day-to-day basis based on texting alone. Texting alone has changed dramatically how we converse with one another in person.
Yeah.
Right? Especially our grammar.
Big time.
How much more is that going to be? How much more different is that going to be with our kids when they're developing if they spend so much of their time in augmented reality? I mean, this reminds me of Ready Player One, the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, as good as a movie that is, everybody's life revolved around virtual reality because they're escaping the hellscape of what is their actual reality. So it's fantasy versus reality. They wanted to live their life in fantasy because their reality sucked. And it got to the point to where in the movie they showed how people were investing so much of their life into this game. For instance, all of their life savings into the game, or they lost years or hours of hard work and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of their money when their character dies and they lose everything. They get so frustrated that there's a scene where this dude he's at work on his virtual headset to where he yells, he throws off the virtual reality, he's looking around, starts running towards a window where he opens it up and is about to jump out and kill himself, and he has to have one of his coworkers tackle him down to the ground to save him. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, it's all fun and games when it's for a movie, but the sad reality is that is how people will behave if they grow up with augmented reality as they're developing, and they immerse themselves into a fantasy world, and it creates more of an isolation from reality. Yeah. It changes their perception about everything. And not to mention, if kids, there's a video of a kid I saw once where he was sleeping, but his hand was moving as if he was scrolling on, a tablet, right? Think about what happens when a kid's at dinner at a restaurant looking at a menu trying to interact with it with his hand as if he's got the VR goggles on.
What if they make the battery last long enough where people just don't take them off? Because I just thought about it. And I'm reading here, it has real-time 3D mapping, right? And I immediately thought about some dumbass driving with the goggles on.
Oh, shit.
And,
I didn't even think of that.
Driving and messing on his computer or whatever.
Yeah, trying to drive, multitasking. Yeah. Oh, yeah, multitasking while driving. Okay, picture this. Someone has a Tesla. They have it on autopilot. They're on the highway going 80 miles per hour.
Yeah.
On to work. They got on one side of their VR goggles, they're doing a FaceTime. On the other, they're working on a project last minute before they go into work. And then, of course, you still trying to drive at the same time. Well, what happens when something messes up on the car? Or what happens if someone decides to do that and not in a car that's capable of self-driving?
That's what came to mind. Like, some
Exactly.
idiot's going to
That's
try
what I'm saying.
that.
Because, I mean, people already do that with their phones.
Yeah.
And you already see that how many deaths and accidents are caused because of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what makes you think, that is a
Would it-
dangerous implication.
Would it be illegal, though?
Hell yeah. It's a form of technology. It's not glasses or sunglasses.
Well, it's not like you're looking forward. You're still driving, right?
It's still a form of technology that can divert your attention.
I'm going to have to buy one and try it out.
Oh my God, no, please don't.
Just the parking lot?
No.
I won't go
Please,
anywhere.
no.
I'll just move back and forth in the same parking spot.
Yeah.
See if it works.
My dumbass will put something behind you and make you think you ran over somebody.
No, I wouldn't do that. I'm just like, I like the idea. I think it could bring out a lot of positive things. But at the same time, I do agree with the dumbing us down.
Yeah. I think it would hinder our development, not only as a person, but as a species. And I think just as technology gets better and it gets more affordable, it's, especially for kids, I mean, their reliance on augmented reality, their reliance on virtual reality, their perceptions of reality, and their ability to perceive reality versus fantasy, I think that has some serious negative implications that come from it. I mean, we already see, there's positives to everything, and I'm sorry that we're not discussing the positive of this, but I think what we need to discuss more so than the positives are the negative implications that come from it, because we already see how messed up our society is based on the use of social media alone. I mean, when you start altering your ability to perceive reality versus fantasy, that's just another form of control.
You're a slave.
Yeah, and so I think it's extremely important, just like people like Elon Musk want to talk about the negative implications of AI before we continue development on this technology. I think we need to do the same thing with virtual reality, especially whenever you're immersed in social media. It creates, again, isolation. It creates depression, fear of missing out, anxiety, stress. It does all that, and that's just social media. That you can turn your phone off or throw your phone out the window and not even touch it, not even look at it. I mean, there's nothing, right?
Well, another cool thing that this can do is like Marquise Brown was saying, he was doing a review on it. Instead of paying $1,000-$2,000 for courtside seats, you can pay $10 and watch an NBA game courtside.
That would be pretty cool. But again, and then of course there's that aspect we were talking about earlier. If you had a bunch of people over, right, but no TV, but you had VR goggles for your friends, you guys could all put the VR goggles on and experience the whole thing together if there's a way to connect the goggles together to share the same experience.
Yeah, like watch a good movie on a 100-foot screen.
Yeah, like you know how you could do a simulcast or whatever it's called, simulcast, or I don't know how to pronounce it, but basically what you do is you cast your whatever is on your phone to your TV so everybody can see it.
Yeah.
What if you're able to do that with the VR goggles? You can be like, all right, cast this to all goggles in the vicinity, and you guys are all able to watch
Probably
the
could.
same movie. That's what I'm thinking.
Sure you could.
That'd be pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Again, as fun and as awesome and as cool as it'd be to experience Apple's Vision Pro and maybe even own one for some of the capabilities it has, including relaxation. I mean, let's not get into the fact that we could get into this and for longer time, right? Your ability to just lay in bed and put on some, like, maybe look at the ceiling and maybe put something on and make you think you're in the clouds, you're flying or in the galaxy, just experiencing it all. I mean, it could be extremely relaxing. Maybe even put on some classical music while you're in the sky.
Let's say you know how you meditate,
space.
Put the goggles on, and then instead of meditating in your room or in your living room, you meditate
On a mountain.
outside in nature by a river or by a lake.
On a mountaintop or something like that. The unfortunate thing is, it doesn't give you smells. It doesn't give you wind. It doesn't give you.
It's never gonna be the same.
It's never gonna be the same
as the real.
So it's not
life.
gonna be as relaxing, but that would be pretty cool. Yeah. I will say that. I will give that. For the relaxation purposes and the movie purposes, or entertainment, I should say, that would be pretty fun. But I have some serious issues regarding the effects that it has on humans, especially kids, mental capabilities and mental development. We already have problems with what we have today, and it's nowhere near as advanced as what these goggles are doing. So,
for a virtually lag-free, real-time view of the world. Driving, anyone?
all right. You know what? We'll go ahead and end it there.
That
Please don't
mind.
buy
Like,
these,
what?
which come to sale next year. Please don't buy these and go driving. Extremely dangerous. To me, that's a lot like doing the Bird Box Challenge, where you put a blindfold on and drive. We had dumbasses do that because of a movie.
That's I wouldn't do.
But if we had people do that, see, that's another thing. If we had people who saw a movie where they blind themselves in order to walk to survive, and then you have people in reality try and blindfold themselves and drive on the road while blindfolded, do you see how dangerous it would be to put VR goggles on and drive? We are gonna have people do it, and I don't think that's a good thing. And I think that if you were to have something that's capable of of all that the Vision Pro is, you need to put regulations in place and say that you can't have those either. And if you get pulled over, you get a ticket.
I'm sure if a cop sees somebody driving,
He would do that.
He's gonna pull him over.
What the hell is that?
He's gonna light him up quick.
That's my best impression of a police car.
But it's I mean, we'll see when it comes out. I think it's gonna have positives, also negatives, but they built something crazy.
Something crazy for sure.
Yeah.
How it's going to affect us, only time will tell.
This is just first gen.
I definitely want to check it. Yes, first gen is gonna create. It's the platform that everything else is gonna be based off of.
Yeah.
And so it's gonna just get even more out of control. And who knows? Maybe in the next 5 years, it'll just be just incredibly different, right? Like you're gonna be able to feel like you're outdoors.
I think the way we're going, I mean,
maybe next thing you know,
we're
it's
gonna develop
you're
into
gonna
brain tapping.
That's what I'm saying. Next thing you know, it's gonna have little things that like electrodes or something that stimulate what it's like to be in a certain environment.
Elon's already doing it with Neuralink.
The Neuralink, yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. You know what?
He's doing it for good things.
He's doing it for good things.
But I know somebody's going to do it for people to just lay down and have an alternate life.
And not to mention, if you're able to stimulate the brain for certain pleasures, shall we say, well, we already have an issue with that too. So that's what I'm saying. Using that also for... I'm sorry, guys. This is just... I mean, you can get extremely crazy with this. This is why I think we need to be very vigilant, or diligent, I should say, with this kind of technology going forward. But anyways, we're going to end it there. We're going to wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We had some very interesting takes on this stuff, but at the same time, I think it's important for everybody to understand some of the things going on in today's society, in today's world. But we're going to end it there. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you never miss an episode. And please, please, please share this with all your friends and family. And if you are feeling generous, whether it be $1, $5, $100,000, whatever, we'll take it all. Please think about helping support our show, helping support this podcast to provide better and greater content for you, and more frequent, hopefully someday, content by going to our GoFundMe campaign. The link is in the description below. And that is it for now. Any last words, Mr. Lone Wolf? Lone Wolf.
Don't take cocaine in the White House.
Don't take cocaine in general.
Yeah. I forgot. How much time we got?
Like a minute.
I didn't know this was a thing, but when I mentioned it, the Threads logo, it has 3 6s in it.
Oh, God.
And then I looked it up, and there's a conspiracy theory on it already.
3 6s already. So, yeah, my question is, why does the logo look the way it does instead of a T if it's called Threads?
I think it's like a ribbon.
It's supposed to be like a thread.
Like
a thread, a piece of clothing thread.
I think so.
Stupid.
But
they're all stupid.
They shaped it rather interesting.
They're not creative at all. Guys, they're so stupid. Now let's go do coke. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It's a joke.
All right. Gotta
relax.
go. That's it.
That's it. Signing off. Later.
Peace.